And welcome back to Straight Talk. On the show today is Chrissy and Jessica in studio, and I'm joining in too this week. So we were discussing the casino issue in the community because it is an ongoing thing, and with the Mohawk Council releasing assessment studies and press releases saying that we're going into phase 2 now at this point. Aside from the social issue that's being widely debated in the community. And you know what, I really do hope that people feel that the media is doing their job in covering these issues, and that's a big one, and that the information regarding the casino is being dispersed into the community and that people have access to it. And Jessica, you were saying that the Mohawk Council has released the study or an assessment on their website.
Well, if you remember, in September they announced that they were going into phase 2 of research, and that's when they spent the $115,000 into this research.
Okay.
And last week they announced that the first part of that, the market assessment, was completed. And you can see on Ganawage.com there a video and a summary of the report.
Okay.
And basically,
so in detail, basically, what did it say?
Some of the highlights were that in the first year of operation, if everything goes through, would be 2015, and the casino would generate $78 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How does it sound to you? Does that sound like huge? It sounds big, right?
Yeah, but that's
the
again
real numbers.
I mean, that's a gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're going to be grossing. That's how much they estimate they would gross in the first year.
And that doesn't take into account the equipment and certain things.
So operational expenses. So that's not a net profit, right? That's just
not net profit.
This is how much we could make. But no number yet in terms of whatever
minus equipment, minus building, minus
employees, food. I mean, before we debate that, what else did they have?
Well, a lot of the research was based on assumptions that the research group made, and some of them were that the casino would be open 24 hours. They would serve complimentary alcohol to gamblers. That there would be an advantage, that a casino in Ganawage would have an advantage over the casino in Montreal, because the casino in Montreal is kind of hard to get to since it's on an island, and where the proposed site that they used the research for would be on near Highway 30 in Ganawage.
Right, which is very well connected at this point, right?
And that because of the Highway 30 expansion, it was estimated that it would see X amount of traffic by 2015. And I think overall it said within a 2-hour driving radius, there's potentially 4 million potential customers that the casino could see.
Does it ever make you wonder that when you think back to, as journalists in the community, we get to cover a lot, and personally, I just think we have long memories. So when I think back to the whole issue with Highway 30 and how it was done, very fast, and the community wasn't consulted really, and, how there was a problem that people felt that the land should have been better negotiated and things like that. So when you're looking at that and, fast forward now a couple of years and Highway 30 ends up going through and now this issue evolves again. To me, maybe it sounds kind of conspiracy theory, but when I look at things in the state that we're in, I think, was all that leading to something? Was there a plan in place? Was this always, was this something that was well thought out and it was just never really, talked about for different reasons?
Well,
I don't want to be negative,
that's one of the discussion points. And again, I'm not saying to be negative or whatever, but basically this is what people are talking about. Yeah. All right, and this is what it looks like. We're not saying that this is what's actually happening or this is what's going on, but that it's not a far. It's not far to say. It's not far-fetched either. Exactly. It's a plausible thing, and that people are going to be asking these questions. I don't know if we'll get answers, but people will. It might just be coincidence that that's the way it worked out.
Even one of the concerns, One of the concerns that I've been hearing is that is that land even the communities
Secure.
yet?
Yeah.
And another thing, I remember back in September they were saying that there were 2 proposed sites. One of them, this Highway 30 area, another one kind of where near the Seaway, where it's.
Okay, where the land is being cleared, for that piping line that went out to survival school, and the other side?
Yeah, the land that's designated for commercial
use, yeah.
But in the research assessment, they didn't take into account that area. Mm-hmm. So is it going to be a done deal that if the casino goes through it now, it has to be on this Highway 30 area?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just playing devil's advocate here now. So let's just say that this happens, and then, and this could only happen, am I assuming at this point, because I don't have all the details. I did not read the assessment, I'm going to admit it. But what I'm wondering is, are we heading towards another referendum at this point?
Well, that's what the MCK has been saying. There's people who don't believe it. Mm-hmm. I think it would be dumb of the MCK if they don't do it. It's just dumb.
That's putting it plain and simple, Jess. Well, I think they need to do another referendum. Otherwise, I don't know. I think, all hell's going to break loose if they don't. I think out of respect.
The problem with me with that is that, again, like I said, there's a very small percentage that are strongly against. There are a very small percentage that are strongly for. Yeah. And it's the people that are in the middle that are going to make that are on the fence that are going to make the difference. So I think both sides have to kind of sell their point of view.
They really do. I am one of those people that are on the fence. Years ago when I voted no in the referendum, it was for very different, very similar reasons. Or I can say different, but when I look at how economy has evolved in Kahnawake, we're no better off, than we were all those years ago, just in my opinion. But I still have a lot of the same no's, on my plate that I did years ago. But why I'm sitting in the middle is when I think about the bigger picture about economy, and it doesn't just come down to dollars and cents, not for me anyways. Mm-hmm. When I look at, our education system, and I look at jobs for people in the community, and where others are at, where the young, population is at, and things like that, I try to look at things outside of myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yes, maybe I do have this belief system, but not everyone's me. So how can I look at it outside of myself and not feel selfish? So that's where I'm at.
I know, for myself, I've changed. Mm-hmm. And my outlook on a lot of things have changed. So when we're discussing, like I said, economics, mm-hmm. The world has changed. So I'm thinking, okay, well, this might work, and this could work, mm-hmm. and if it's done properly, this really could work, mm-hmm. and I can say that if it's done properly, then I'm all for it. But if it's not, then I would have to say I'm not. I don't know yet.
Well, that's what it kind of, I guess, annoys me when there are people who are just set. Well, it's okay, but mm-hmm. people are just set in their ways, and those are the people who are, who say we voted no twice in the mm-hmm. past, and for me, obviously I was too young to mm-hmm. vote mm-hmm. in the 2 previous referendums, but just from when this was announced a couple of years ago to every time it comes in the news again, I rethink and revisit how I feel about it, and it's always going on one mm-hmm. or the other side.
And I think that's what people have to do, is they have to look and see mm-hmm. and find out for themselves. I think that a lot of issues in the last couple of years, a lot of people are apathetic. They're saying I really don't care, so they're not going to partake in an issue like this. But this is pretty important, and I think it's important that people find out as much as they can. And from what I understand, with the summary report. From the MCK is on their website, mm-hmm. all right? But it's a summary.
Look at it.
It's a summary report. It's not the full report.
But I think the full report
but you can
is
get it.
Reviewing, right? You can go in there, and if you really wanted to find out, you can go in there. So,
and you can get it.
I think that might be something that we're willing to do here at Mohawk TV, is kind of go in there and really do an in-depth research of it. I think, you know, we're obligated to a sense to do that. But on the other side, I would really like to see people, you know, be proactive and do their own research and form an opinion that would be based on, you know,
on that knowledge.
On that knowledge. So, but before we go to another commercial break, just really quickly, I mean, Jessica, you're younger than Christine and I. You're in a different, we fall into that 40, 30, 20.
I'm not saying anything.
But I mean, you know, how is the younger generation feeling about this right now? I mean, you must have a lot of peers that you guys discuss this stuff.
I think it's just like the older generations. It's really like there are a lot of people who don't really care. There are people who are passionately against it. There are people who think like, yeah, it makes sense, like we need money.
And I guess that's in every generation too, so there you go.
Yeah, so it's pretty much right across the board.
Yes. We want to hear from you, but we're going to come back after this quick commercial break. Don't forget our poll's coming up and poll results from last week's program. And with the holiday season right around the corner, we're going to talk shopping. So don't go away, we'll be right back.